and my chair in Florida, I was even, but I do need a little bit of a blanket here. So you want,
Say
because
that.
you want a straight line from the knees to the hips. You don't want it to be that the knees are lower than the hips or higher. Now, if the knees are lower, you put the blanket under your feet the way that I just did. So it raises your feet a little bit so your knees are now even with your hips. If your hips are lower than your knees, which is also a possibility because chairs have like a 2-inch, I'm learning because I'm decorating, a 2-inch difference in the seat height, you might want to put that blanket under your hips, which raises the hips. So the blanket here today is just a tool to get your body even where it should be.
Okay.
Okay. And the first thing I want to do is just start with a breath. And I want to talk about spring because I feel like the world is beginning to open up in so many ways. So, I drove up from Florida and I watched from, it started at 85 degrees and then it was 75 degrees, then it was 65 degrees. And at the same time, I watched the greenery change. But when I got to New York, and granted, it was night, but we came over the Tappan Zee Bridge with the beautiful lights. And when I woke up this morning, I saw the forsythia in bloom and my daffodils are out. And like the world is opening up, like nature is opening up and the world is opening up as we become vaccinated and people are, I watched Governor Cuomo yesterday on FaceTime and just everything is opening. Broadway might open, the world might open. A very good friend of mine passed away last week and we knew she was going soon. But Shiva is actually in person for anyone who's vaccinated, which is the first of its, in a year that I've been in person for anything like that. There's only 10 people and it's with masks and it's only for vaccinated people. But how amazing that I can actually give the husband a hug. So the world's opening up. So in that way, I want to take a special breath and I wanted us to start with Yujaya Breath. So Yujaya Breath is we breathe in through the nostrils, a long breath. I'm not going to dictate how long, but I'm going to tell you between 4 and 5 seconds. And then when you breathe out, we always breathe through the nostrils in yoga, both ways. You breathe out. I want you to constrict the throat, almost like making like a Darth Vader kind of sound, or as if you're fogging up the mirror. So you would go like that, but you do it with your mouth closed. So let's try that. We're going to take a deep inhale through the nostrils. So about 4 or 5 seconds, take it in. Expand your rib cage, expand your belly. And then as you breathe out, constrict the throat and try to make that noise. And when you think you have no more air left in you, see if you can get a little bit more air out. Let's do that again. Inhale. And exhale. One more time. Deep inhale through the nostrils. And exhale. And just when you think you let it all out, see if you can squeeze a little bit more out. The interesting thing about doing a breath work is yoga really, the breath work is as important as the movement work in yoga. But aside from that, so I was guilty of this too, and I've been doing yoga for 45, maybe more than 45 years. But we all, 7/8 of us breathe from our chest, we don't take full expansion of the lungs. So we're only using 7/8 of it's actually 7/8 of the people, 7/8 of the lung capacity, which is how I remember the statistic. So you only use 7/8 of your actual lung capacity. And here's a personal little story. You know that in some yoga classes you om. And I don't om on Zoom because it's too hard for all of our voices to sound the way that it does in studio when it's beautiful and we're all in it together, like singing voices together. The sound of om is the universal sound. But I could never hold the om as long as everybody else because actually you're exhaling. And then after I started to do breath work with each time I practice yoga, I could tell my lungs got stronger. because I was able to hold that Om. So doing breath work is actually exercising your lungs, which, as we learned from COVID, is really important. Anyway, that's my little spiel on breath work. So here we are in the spring of our season, the spring of COVID, and we're going to warm up the spine. So inhale, bring the arms overhead. Get long and tall on the inhale. And the exhale, relax your body, but keeping the arms overhead. And when you inhale again, get long and tall and see if you can gain a half inch in the spine. So if you're 5'4", see if you can become 5'4.5". Just grow your spine really tall. And then take your right hand down, bring it to the side of the chair. Left hand remains overhead as we come and we lean towards the right, keeping our chest open and our shoulders away from the ears. So granted, the left shoulder is going to be closer to the ears because you're bending towards your head, but let your head come away from the shoulder a little bit. So you're getting a nice side stretch. So it's interesting because you're stretching to the right, but the stretch is actually on the left. And you do not want to be folded over to the front. You want to make sure your chest is wide. So if you want to take that left hand and hold onto your rib cage to make sure that your torso is facing front and you're open. So right now we're taking the 7 movements of the spine. So the first one was tall. The second one was to the right, a side stretch. Now we're going to the left. So the left hand comes to the side of the chair. The right hand comes over as we lean towards the left. So this is the third movement of the spine. And we're warming up so that we can move a little faster and a little deeper. This is all just warming up the spine, which you can do in the chair just as easily, because if we were on the mat, we'd be seated on the floor. In the same way, hands come to the sides of the chair, let them come to the tops of your legs, let your feet come out a little bit. And all of these movements are what we are going to incorporate when we start moving in a flow. So let your hands come, slide them down the leg, bend at the hip crease. So not at the waist, because you don't want to use your lower back. You want to bend at the hip crease. Now, keeping a straight back, you might only be able to come a little bit forward, and that's fine. You might be able to come a little bit more, and that's fine too. We're not going to round the back here. So if you only come just a little tipping forward, that is totally okay. You do you. But you just want to bend forward. So the spine moves in a forward direction. And then come back to center. And now take your hands behind you to the back of the chair. Let your elbows come towards each other. So your shoulder blades, as if someone's karate chopping you in the spine. So your shoulders come back. This is all, when we do shoulder work, it's to counteract sitting in front of that computer or your phone and staring at a screen, or just when we're sitting round shouldered at on the couch, whatever. This is to get those shoulders back. You can change your posture with yoga and lean back. So you might have to splay the elbows out to get away from the back, but lean back. So we're doing a little bit of a back bend, but we're keeping a very straight spine and neck. The neck goes just as long as the spine. And come back to center. So that was 5 movements of the spine. Now we're going to take the right hand and bring it to the back of the chair. My chair's a little high for this, but I'm going to do it. So just hold the back of the chair almost behind you. Take your left hand onto the outside of your right knee. Now, before you start to twist, because some of you know that I'm going to a twist, your ankles, by the way, are under your knees. You're back in a 90-degree angle with your legs. Before you even move towards the twist, when we inhale, we get tall. We let the spine get long. And that's always the case with yoga. And when we exhale, we relax into the posture. So when you inhale, breathe in, get really tall. And then as you exhale, turn so that you're looking over your right shoulder, and then relax yourself into that position. Let the exhale happen, and then take another inhale. And as you inhale, get tall and strong. And as you exhale, see if you can go a little further, looking over that right shoulder. And then cross your hands in the front of you and slowly let yourself realign, let your spine come back to straight. Take your left hand, bring it to the back of you, back of the chair. Boy, this is a high chair. I have to try to find a different chair next time. And your right hand is to the outside of the leg. And again, before you start twisting, take an inhale, get really tall and strong. Take an exhale, look over the left shoulder. Inhale, tall and strong, look over the left shoulder. and come back to center. So let's do a little bit of shoulder shrugs. First of all, let your body realign itself. We always realign. And in Shavasana, which is the resting last pose, that's when you really let everything integrate and realign. Okay, shoulder shrugs. Bring your shoulders up to your ears where they don't belong, and then bring them down. Up to your ears and back down. And now take them and let's do some shoulder circles. So bring them back behind you and then up towards your ears and then towards the front of the room and back down. And then come in the opposite direction. And then back to neutral. Let your head come down so your chin touches your chest. And then bring your right ear towards your right shoulder, keeping the shoulder away from the ear. You're just allowing that right ear to go towards the right shoulder, but not the shoulder towards the ear, so that there's space between. Come back, roll towards center, chin to chest, and let's go left side. Again, chin to chest, right side, chin to chest, left side. Okay, head back in the center. Bring your arms straight out in front of you. Put your hands make your hands as wide as you can, as if there was a wall in front of you, fingers wide. So this is stretching the wrist, stretching the fingers, really putting energy into the arm. So there's two ways to do arm work. And I've learned that you can just relax your arms out here and just work on the hands and feel the tension in the hands, or you can also put some tension in the arms, which actually is doing isometric exercise to those arms. So your fingers are out in palms as if there's a wall there. And now take your fingers and make claws. This is great if you have arthritis, and it could hurt a little bit because I know about those arthritic joints, which, by the way, food can help a lot. Cut out sugar and you stop with the arthritic pain and the arthritic progression. I know because I have it. I have arthritis in my joints and I stopped it cold. And talk to me if that's something that you're dealing with. Make beaks. So make beaks with your hands. First, when you do this, see if you can just move the thumbs and then see if you can just move the hands. And then make paws. So in yoga, almost all the positions are named after animals. So we're doing the same thing with our hands. So make paws as if you're punching a wall. So again, energy into those arms. Okay, hands onto your knees, and let's do some torso circles. And we're going to combine that with the breath, and you're going to see if you can still do some of that Yujaya breathing, which is that Darth Vader or fogging up a mirror on the exhale. So in yoga, we try to always breathe through the nostrils unless your nose is stuffed. So we're going to breathe in through the nostrils as we come across the front of the legs. And then as we lean back and do sort of a back lean, you're going to exhale and see if you can do that Yujaya breath. Inhale as we come forward and exhale as you go backwards. If you're so busy thinking about the breathing part of this, your mind won't be going and worrying about what you have to do today or what you did yesterday or whenever. That's the beauty about yoga. I always used to feel that it was great for the mind because you're so busy keeping the position and thinking how to go deeper, what to do, how to stay balanced, that you can't really do anything else. Now let's go in the other direction, but the breathing remains the same. So when you come over the front body, you're inhaling, and when you go backwards, you're exhaling. Okay, come to center. Let's separate the legs. And if you have a block, great. If not, I'll show you. You might want to remove the blanket if it was there to help your alignment. Put the block in the center, a little bit further than your legs are. You may have to adjust it. Place your right hand on the block. Now, if you don't have a block, you can place the right hand onto the right leg. I'll just do that for now, just so you can see. So your torso is straight facing the front of the room. You're going to twist. And if you have the block, you're going to place the right shoulder and the right arm down there. And you're going to take the left arm and bring it up to the sky. Now, you probably won't, because I can't do it from this position, be able to parallel the shoulders so that they're parallel to one another, but you can sort of try, and that gives you a twist. If your hand is here, you still want to go, you're almost bending, placing the forearm onto your leg. And let's switch sides. So now the left hand comes onto the block, the left shoulder is over the left wrist, and the right arm comes up to the sky. And if you don't have a block, you can place the left forearm onto the left leg, and the right arm comes up. So all of this is warming up your spine. If you notice, we're doing all of those 7 movements of the spine over and over, and we're breathing. So we focus on our breath. And with that, bring your legs back together. Let's take our hands up to the sky. And as we do that, we're going to inhale through the nose and then exhale. Yujaya breath. Inhale. Place your hands on your knees. Bring your navel towards your knees. So you're almost like arching your back, but your shoulders are what's bringing it back. And your head comes, your chin comes, lifts just a little bit for cow. And then your navel goes towards the spine as your tailbone tucks under for cat, and your chin comes towards your chest. And so that's really exercising the spine and getting some fluidity into the spine. Go back and forth. Tucking the chin. Okay, come to center. Let's bring the right leg up to the air, straight ahead. Flex that foot. Point it and flex it. 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 Bring it down. Let's do the left leg up in the air, flexing the foot. Lift it. Point and flex. Point and flex. Point and flex. Point and flex. Let's take the right leg and hug it to the chest if you can, keeping your torso straight. You don't want to lean back. Bring that down, bring the left leg up. If you have a block, and if not, I think you have a pillow. So you can put the pillow, if not, paper towels are okay. Just put something between your legs. And this is really to remind you to squeeze. I want you to squeeze that block with your knees. And then hold on to the chair and see if you can lift the legs. Even if you just lift them a little bit off the ground, squeezing and lifting. Let them relax. Feet back to the floor. Let the right leg, you're squeezing, let the right leg come up. Right leg comes down, left leg comes up, you're still squeezing. Comes down, and both legs go up again while you squeeze. And the legs come down. Okay, put the blocks on either side of you. We might need them in a little while. We're going to start our flow. So I want you to take yourself and turn towards the right side of the chair. You still don't want to be up against the back of the chair. So you're centered so that your hips are on there. And you want to almost be so that your left hip can come off. Now, you can take a block. You can place it down so your knee could come on. And that's fine. If you have the range of motion to be able to bring that leg out straight behind you, and the foot is in a 45-degree angle. I think you can see that. The front leg is to its own side. The knee is over the ankle. You're in a 90-degree angle right here with your leg. So if you can do this, if not, it's fine to have your knee on a block. We're going into a warrior flow. So your torso is up centered. I want you to hold the back of the chair. So your torso faces the front of the knee. Your knee should be over your toes. We don't want the knee to lean in or lean out. The knee has to stay. That is work to keep that knee over the toes. So your legs are working while we're doing this, even though you're in a chair. Hold on to the back of the chair with the right hand. Your torso is straight. Take your left arm, bring it to half prayer. This is warrior one. Your gaze is over that front knee, straight ahead. So your torso is facing the front leg. That back leg is getting a nice extension. This is a hip stretch. We're in warrior one. Take that left hand, let it wheelhouse over so that it's reaching behind you, and the right arm reaches in front of you. Your gaze is over your front fingers. Your torso is straight in the middle. Now take that back foot and turn it so the toes are facing straight ahead. And you're in warrior two. That should relax the hip just a little bit. Remember to keep that front knee over the toes. That's kind of hard because I know that knee wants to come inward. In Warrior Two, we like to say that the front arm is going towards the future and the back arm is going towards the past, and you are right in the present. So just breathe here. Keep your arms a little bit of, remember we talked about energy lines. Energy line is going in two directions right now. From the front fingertips to the back is an energy line. If you put some energy into those arms, you're getting an isometric exercise in the arms. And your legs are also working here. Your body is working even though you're sitting in a chair. Take your left arm, let it slide down the left leg, and the right arm comes over into Peaceful Warrior. Your knee is still out over those toes. Don't let it kind of curl in. Take that right forearm, let it go onto the left thigh, which could try to keep that knee to its side. It kind of relaxes it. And take the left arm overhead. Now here's an energy line. You can see it in my body. Tips of my left fingers to the back pinky toe side of my foot is one long energy line. And you want to press into that pinky toe side of the foot if you can. Your chest is open and wide. So if you need to take your hand to feel your rib cage open and your chest is wide, that's fine. This is a Mahdi, that's actually something interesting. Mahdi, body, mind, spirit connection yoga. Come back to Peaceful Warrior. So let that left hand slide down, let the right hand come over, and come back to side angle pose. And back to Peaceful Warrior. Think about it. Which one do you like better? Bring the right hand out into the future and the left hand out into the past. And your gaze is over those front fingers. We're always looking towards the future. The past happened already. And we're back to Warrior Two. Gaze is over those front fingers. Okay, hands on your thighs. Bend that back leg if it's not already bent. We're coming into a wide angle pose. So the feet are pointed forward, your legs are apart, you're facing the front of the chair. Again, you're sitting in the front of the chair and you're facing the front of the room. Have a block handy. We're going to twist again. I think we did this already, but we're going to do it again. So block goes in the center, right hand comes onto the block. You start with your two shoulders parallel to the floor, and then you sort of turn. So you're using your left arm to bring yourself turn yourself so that one shoulder is almost stacked on top of the other for a wide angle twist. Keeping your knees out over your toes, and then switch arms. Don't forget, whatever we do on this side, we have to do on the other. Hands onto your legs, you can remove the block, and let's lean forward. So my hands, my elbows are out, my fingers are on the inside of my legs as I lean and bending at the hip crease. You don't want to be bending at the waist. So you want to be bending right where the thigh meets the hip. So you might want to, this is how I do it. You inhale, remember we get tall and long on the inhale, and that's when you lean forward from the hip crease. Come up to center where our legs are still apart into wide angle pose. Bring the arms into goddess arms. And we are in goddess pose. Here's the thing about goddess pose. We did this earlier where I said, make believe someone's karate chopping the back so that your shoulders are back and your posture, your arms, your shoulders go back and they're not round shouldered. This is the greatest thing for your posture, this arm movement. So take your arms and twist to the right. Come back to center, twist to the left. Come back to center. Now, take your right hand, bring it out in front of you straight. Take your left hand, bring it on top of that, and twist the arms into eagle pose. Now, you might only be able to just do one on top of the other and let the hands meet, or you might be able to get that twist up into the wrists and then bring the elbows up so that they're shoulder height and you're in eagle arms. If you'd like to try eagle legs, bring your legs together. Take your right leg, bring it on top of the left, because we're on the right side. Take your ankle and twist it around the ankle of the left leg. Now you can lean forward and you are soaring like an eagle in your chair. When you lean forward, we're leaning at the hip crease, not at the back, lower back. Come back up, untwist the legs, untwist the arms. Come to center and let your body realign for a moment before we go to the other side, because we have to do the other side. Okay, turn towards the left of the chair. How's everybody feeling? Yeah, okay, good. So turn towards the left of the chair. Remember, just to get you set up, we're not all the way to the back of the chair. You want to be able to drop this right hip so we can get into warrior one pose. So left leg, ankle below the knee. You're in a 90-degree angle. Remember to keep that knee to its own side so it's over the toes. That's really important. You want to take that right hip and allow it to drop almost off the chair. If this is where you are, it's totally fine. Take a block, let your knee come onto the block. Your foot is just like mine, toes under. You can actually let your toes relax if you'd like, or keep them on the ball, keep on the ball of your foot. That's fine. If you have the range of motion to be able to take that leg and the hip dropped off and bring it straight out. Now it's not straight behind you because I don't think anybody's body's built like that. It's sort of out to a V. Take the foot, bring it to a 45-degree angle. Face the front, face your front knee. So your torso is over facing front. So that leg is really like as if it's behind you. Take your left hand, bring it to the back of the chair, and your right hand comes into prayer. Your torso is straight over your hips. So your ribs are over the hips, and then your shoulders are over the ribs, and your head is on straight. Hopefully your head's on straight. We are in prayer. We're in warrior one. Now we're going to take that right arm, wheelhouse it back, turn the foot so that it's facing the front of the room. Take the left hand so it's out in front of you. Make sure your torso, I just adjusted, I don't know if you saw that, so that make sure your torso is over your hips in the center of your body, and that knee is out to its own side over the toes. If that's really hard for you, you can bring that foot, the whole foot a little bit closer. You just don't want the knee to be not over the foot. So right hand is facing the past, left hand is in the future. Actually, let's do something just a little different this time. So you want it as if someone's taking your front fingers and pulling you forward. I want you to just tip so that you're in triangle pose. We should have done that on the other side. I didn't think about it. Your hands are up and down straight. That's the energy line. Come back up so you're in warrior two. Then let the right hand slide down the leg as the left hand comes overhead for peaceful warrior, remembering to keep that front knee over its foot, over the toes. And then take the forearm, bring it to the thigh, take the right arm and let it come up overhead. Now, just remember to turn your torso, allow your chest to be wide open. You might want to take your right hand and hold your rib cage so that your chest is open and your heart is open and you're in the right position. So the energy line, tips of my fingers to the outer pinky toe side of my straight foot. And I'm putting energy in there. So it becomes an exercise. Your arms get stronger. Take that hand, let it slide down the leg as the left arm comes back overhead for peaceful warrior. And let's do that again. Side angle pose. Let's inhale. And as you exhale, come into peaceful. Inhale, side angle. Exhale, peaceful. Come back into warrior two. So your gaze is over the front fingers. And then I want you to take yourself and twist yourself so that you're facing, or untwist yourself, so that you're facing the front of the room with your knees over your ankles and you're in a wide angle pose. We're going to take our arms, bring them back to goddess. Turn towards the right. Come center. Turn towards the left. Come center. Let's take eagle on this side. So your left arm comes out straight in front of you and your right arm comes over it. Then you twist. Now, again, if you can only just get this far and then bring your hands together and bring the elbows up, that's totally fine. But if you can, cross again at the wrist and let the palms kiss each other and then bring yourself up shoulder height. Bring your legs together. Take the left leg over the right. Let that left ankle cross behind the right one so that you're twisted here too. Lift again, make sure your elbows are lifted shoulder height, and then lean forward at the hip crease. And you are soaring like an eagle. Come back to center, uncross the legs, uncross the arms, hands on your legs. Give yourself a moment to just feel back in alignment. Okay, let's take our right leg, let's hug it to the chest. Allow your back to round just a little bit so that it releases. And then take your foot with your left hand and bring that ankle over the thigh. Take your forearm, your right forearm, press down on the knee, not too hard, just what's appropriate. So I love to say, and I probably should have said this in the beginning, if you feel any pain, take it to the edge, but don't feel any more pain than you normally do. I don't mean any pain because some of us feel pain all the time. If there's any more pain than what's usual for you, don't do it. Back off a little bit. Yoga is not supposed to be painful. It's supposed to be challenging, but not painful. So this is a great hip stretch. This is pigeon in the chair. We're holding it, keeping the foot flexed. It's much more gentle on the knees and on the hips to do it this way than it is on the mat. Uncross the legs and let's do the other side. So bring that left leg up, hug the chest, allow the back to just round just a little bit so you release any tension there. And then take that left ankle, cross it over the right leg. Take your forearm, allow it to relax on the knee bend. Take your right hand, hold the left foot, and press down a little bit for pigeon on this side. And what you might notice is that your two legs are different. So we are different every day. The two sides of our body is different. The seasons make us different. The breath makes us different. You could be, think about when you start working out or you start exercising, how tight you are. I can't even do forward bend without bending my legs deeply when I first wake up in the morning. And then by a few forward bends, I can straighten the legs. So our body's different. So don't be hard on yourself. Your right leg's going to be different than the left, which is where I started with this. So let's just allow us to feel the stretch in this side and then place both feet on the floor. So at this point, I love to take us out of the chair for a moment. So if you can, let's come out of the chair. If you can't, I'll show you what to do while you're in the chair, but I think all of you can come out of the chair. We're gonna come out of the chair, hold on to the chair with your left hand. You're on the right side of the chair because I want you to be able to have the stability of the chair. Stand straight. So here, you know what? We're in mountain pose right now. Mountain pose, your four sides of your foot. You can feel all four sides. I want you to lean forward just a little. Feel what it feels like to be more on the balls of your feet. Then lean back just a little bit, holding onto the chair. I don't want you to fall, so that you can feel what it feels like to be on the heels. Come to the right and you can feel what it feels to be leaning one way and then the left leaning the other. And now you know what it's like so that you're even on all four corners. Here's a little thing I love to do with people. Lift your toes up. By the way, when you lift your toes up, you're engaging the quads and the knees. The knees lift and you're engaging the thighs. Now place the big toe down and let's see if you can do this. Place the baby toe down. You've got 3 toes up in the air. Can you do that? If not, you can certainly work on that. And the more you work on that, you'll be amazed. If you do that while you're in the shower, you will be able at one point to bring those 2 edge toes down and the 3 toes up. It takes time. It was really an accomplishment when I was able to do it. And you will too, because it's all mind-body connection. It's your brain. It's not your body. Okay, we're holding onto the chair. Take your right leg, come up to the balls of your foot. Your left leg is really planted. All your weight is pretty much on the left leg right now. So your right foot is on the ball of the foot. I want you to take that heel and turn it towards the inside of the foot. Is anyone in the chair? I don't think so. So I don't think I have to do the chair. Is anyone in the chair? I think all of you are off mute, right? Okay, no, good. Okay, so take that left foot now. If you can, move it up to the inside of the foot. You can hold on and see, just make sure so here's what we tend to do when we do tree. We tend to jut the hip out. You see my hip just went out to sort of compensate for lifting that leg. Jut the hip back in, keep straight, keep that leg out to its side. And let's come, so the right hand should be in half prayer position. We're in tree pose. You wanna press the foot into the calf, or if you can lift it for the thigh, but I can't do that on this leg. Each side of the body is different. I can do it on the other side. So you want to press the calf into the foot and the foot into the calf. The only place you don't want to be is on the knee area. You can be on the calf. If you can get that foot to the thigh, great. And if you want to take that hand out and bring goddess arm, you can. If you can let go of both hands for a second and see if you can do prayer, you can let your branches, this is tree pose, you can let your branches swing in the wind, whatever feels good to you. This is like a personal expression kind of pose. And then bring that foot down and allow yourself to just feel back in alignment. Let your feet get balanced. And let's come to the other side of the chair. So plant both feet. We don't have to do that exercise while we lean forward and lean back, but make sure you're on all four corners of the feet and then turn and not turn, but see if you can shift your weight so that all of your weight is on your right foot. Take the left foot to the ball of the foot. Make sure your hip is not jutting out as we turn that left foot towards the knee is out away from our body and the foot is leaning to the inside of our leg. Make sure you're not jutted out in the hip. Take that leg up to the calf or the thigh, or if you just want to hold it so that your toes are touching the floor, that is super fine. It's really okay. This is a balance pose, and balance is so important, but it's really hard. So lift the foot to wherever feels right for you. If you want to take a challenge, it's okay to fall out of whatever you do. Trust me, I fall out of it all the time. So it's okay to fall out of it. Just smile and come back in. Take your left hand, bring it to heart center or goddess. See if you can let go for a little bit. Let your branches swing in the breeze, whatever feels really good. You can even take your hands and if you want, see if you can do prayer position behind your back. You notice the first thing that happens is my hip juts out and I come back. Okay, and release it. Heel toe just to get your feet back into position. Okay, come back to the chair. Take your right arm, bring it out in front of you with your left leg. This is called bird dog, where we do the opposite ones. See if you can hold onto the chair and lift that leg just a little bit higher so that the thigh is off the chair without leaning back. Keep your torso really straight and tall. And then bend the knee back, bring the arm back. Left hand out, right leg. Same thing. See if you can lift a little bit higher. Come back. Hug your right knee to the chest. Hug your left knee to the chest. Okay. That was our practice. We're about to go into Shavasana, which is such an important part of yoga. So here's where I want you to get set up. One of the items, the props that I asked you to have was a pillow. So take your pillow and put it on your lap. They sell weighted blankets. There's a reason for it. We like to feel secure and have something that feels like a little bit of weight. Almost imagine it. If you want to take your blanket, actually, you have a blanket. If you want to take your blanket and drape it over you, that's fine. Here's where I want you to do what we don't do in yoga, which is I want you to slump a little bit. So I want you to lean back to the back of the chair, which should be a little bit of a lean. Allow your chin to come towards the chest. It doesn't have to be on the chest, just towards the chest so you're comfortable. Let your hand movements be what feels good to you. This is self-expression. I know for me, so hand movements in yoga are mudras, and I like to bring the energy together. So my favorite hand movement is to cup one hand into the other and let the thumbs touch. For some reason, that feels great to me. You can try it. It's how I meditate, but it feels really good in chair Shavasana. When you're on a mat doing Shavasana, your hands are out at your sides with your palms up. So if you just want to leave your hands with your palms up, that could also feel really good. But what feels good to you? And then if it's comfortable for you to close your eyes, here's where you close your eyes. If that is uncomfortable for you, you can just find a spot to place a very soft gaze at and go inward. While we're here, I want you to scan the body. Let's start with the feet. I want you to become a tension hunter so that you're going to hunt your body for any place where there's tension. And we all keep tension somewhere. And I want you to see if you can release it. Start with the feet and work your way up to the ankles and the knees and the thighs. You might be clenching somewhere. You might be clenching on your sit bones or your hips where they meet the chair. Feel where they meet the chair. If there's any tension, relax. Relax your lower back, your belly, chest, arms, shoulders. We feel a lot of tension in our shoulders. Just let them relax. Take a deep exhale and sigh. Let them relax. Let your head relax. Your jaw, behind your eyes, the crown of your head. We take a few moments here where our body realigns and integrates all the movement we just did. And while we're in Shavasana, I love to repeat the words that my yoga teacher used to say to us when we were in Shavasana, which is, you are beauty, you are light, you are love, and you are truth. Now, if you want to stay here, you can stay here because this is a delicious place to be. But if you're ready to come out, you can start by wiggling your fingers and maybe wiggling your toes just a little bit. Removing the pillow from your lap. Bringing your torso up to center. And bringing your heart to your hands to heart center. And in yoga, we say namaste, which means the light in me sees the light in you. And I just want to say I'm grateful and honored that you chose to spend some of your morning with me. Have a wonderful weekend and namaste.
Thank you so much, Anita.
You're so welcome. You're welcome.